Let me ask you something. Have you ever finally gotten the thing you've always wanted, only for it to turn into your worst nightmare? That was me. When I bought my dream home, I thought life had finally lined up in my favor. It was perfect. A quiet cul-de-sac with tree-lined streets, neighbors who waved politely, kids riding bikes until dusk. My house? A crisp white two-story with a porch swing and a driveway long enough for barbecues and birthday chalk drawings. After years of cramped city apartments, loud upstairs neighbors, and landlords who thought fixing a leak meant duct tape and prayer, I was free. This was supposed to be my sanctuary, and it was, until she showed up. I was still unpacking boxes, sweat dripping down my back, when I heard the sound. Click, click, click. High heels on concrete. I looked up, and there she was. A woman in her 50s, blonde hair lacquered into a helmet with enough hairspray to withstand a hurricane. Sunglasses so large they looked like they were stolen from a movie set. A floral blouse tucked into khaki slacks, and in her hand, a clipboard. She didn't say hello, didn't smile, didn't ask my name. She just looked me dead in the eye, tapped her pen against the clipboard, and said 6 words that made me laugh at first, but I later realized were the beginning of hell. Welcome to the neighborhood. You owe us. Cliffhanger. Who was she? And what did I owe? Her name? Judith. But everybody in the neighborhood called her Karen. She was the self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac, and apparently, she ran the homeowners association. You're required to join our HOA, she said, her voice dripping with fake friendliness. Dues are $400 a month. Cash or check? I blinked. I didn't sign up for an HOA. I checked before I bought. This neighborhood wasn't listed as having one. That fake smile spread wider, but her eyes, cold, calculating. Oh, it's mandatory, she said sweetly. Everyone is part of it. You have to join. Don't worry, we'll take good care of you. Her tone wasn't welcoming. It was threatening. I crossed my arms. Yeah. No. Not happening. Her lips twitched, just slightly. That's not how this works, she hissed. Then she straightened, tapped her pen one last time and walked away, her heels clicking against my driveway like a gavel hitting wood. I thought that was the end of it. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Cliffhanger. The next morning, my mailbox was stuffed full of threats. Day 2 in my new home. I walked outside, coffee steaming in my hand, birds chirping, the smell of fresh cut grass in the air. I felt happy until I saw it. My mailbox, overflowing. I pulled out the stack, dozens of envelopes, all stamped with bold red letters. HOA notice. I opened the first. Violation. Failure to register with HOA. The next. Violation. Unkempt lawn. Another. Violation. Unauthorized vehicle in driveway. I laughed bitterly. My lawn was perfect. My car? Parked neatly in my own driveway. I hadn't even been there 48 hours, and they were coming at me with fines. But here's the thing. What Karen didn't know was that I wasn't just some clueless homeowner. I used to be a lawyer. Property law, to be exact. I'd written case studies on HOA overreach. I'd drafted the very legal frameworks these petty tyrants thought they were enforcing. So while Karen thought she was playing chess, she didn't realize I was the guy who built the board. But I stayed quiet. For now. Cliffhanger. Then came the night I caught someone creeping around my house. It was 2 a.m. when I heard it, the crunch of footsteps on gravel outside my window. My heart pounded as I peeked through the blinds. And there he was. A man, maybe mid-40s, balding, with a reflective HOA vest stretched over his belly. He crouched by my air conditioning unit, flashlight in one hand, clipboard in the other, scribbling notes. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and stepped outside. Can I help you? He froze like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Maintenance check, he stammered. HOA orders. I raised my phone higher. Funny, I don't have an HOA. He went pale. Then he bolted, dropping his pen as he scrambled down the driveway. I watched him vanish into the shadows, my phone still rolling. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about dues. This wasn't about grass height or trash cans. This was about control, and they were willing to trespass to get it. Cliffhanger. But I wasn't ready for their next move. It happened on a Friday night. I was across town at a friend's barbecue, laughing, finally relaxing, when my phone buzzed. "Hey man, I think your house is on fire." The world stopped. I don't even remember driving, just the sound of tires screeching as I tore through traffic, my chest tight, my hands shaking. When I turned onto my street, I saw it. Flames, orange and violent, ripping through my roof, black smoke blotting out the stars, fire trucks lined the street, neighbors huddled on sidewalks, kids crying. And there, standing at the edge of the crowd, was Karen, arms crossed, smiling. I stumbled toward her, heat from the blaze searing my skin. "What did you do?" I shouted. She tilted her head, almost amused. "Oh, accidents happen. Maybe if you joined the HOA, we could have protected you." Protected me? She said it like an insurance salesman at a funeral. My house. Everything I'd worked for. My memories. My peace. Gone. But as I stood there, ashes falling around me, I realized something. Karen had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Cliffhanger, because I had proof, and I had the law. What Karen didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything. The letters, the threats, the trespassing. And now? The fire department's report confirmed accelerants, gasoline deliberately poured, traced back to HOA property, insurance fraud, arson, racketeering, all federal crimes. But I didn't go to the cops immediately. No. I wanted Karen and her cronies to double down, to hang themselves with their own rope. So when they called a mandatory HOA meeting to discuss my situation, I showed up. The room was packed, neighbors whispering. Karen stood at the front with her smug little smirk, microphone in hand. "This," she announced, gesturing to me, "is what happens when people refuse to follow the rules. We all suffer." Gasps rippled through the room. She was turning my tragedy into propaganda. I raised my hand, calm, patient. "Actually," I said, pulling a thick folder from my bag, "the only ones who'll suffer are you." The room went silent. Karen blinked. "Because," I continued, laying the folder on the table, "I wrote the laws you just broke." Cliffhanger. And then I opened the folder. Inside the folder was everything. Video of the trespasser, letters with her signature, financial documents showing embezzlement, and the fire marshal's report tying the accelerants to HOA storage. I slid copies across the table. Neighbors leaned forward, eyes widening. Karen's face drained of color. "You think you're untouchable?" I said. "You just confessed to arson in front of half the neighborhood." The next day, the raids began. Police cars swarmed the cul-de-sac. Officers hauling out boxes of records. HOA board members led away in handcuffs. And Karen? She was dragged out of her McMansion in a bathrobe, screaming about conspiracies as flashing red and blue lights painted her face. Turns out, the fire wasn't their first crime. They'd been skimming funds, forging liens, extorting neighbors for years. The arson was just their most desperate move. And it was the one that destroyed them. Cliffhanger. But the twist? That was still. The HOA was dissolved. The board indicted. Karen sentenced to 25 years for arson, fraud, and racketeering. But here's where fate decided to laugh. The court needed someone to oversee the neighborhood during the transition. Someone with legal knowledge, someone trusted. Guess who they picked? Yeah. Me. The man who refused to join the HOA was now running the community, legally. And the first rule I passed? No HOA shall ever exist here again. The neighbors cheered. Karen sat in a cell. My house was rebuilt, stronger than before. And every time I sit on my porch swing, sipping coffee, I think about those 6 words she said to me on day 1. "Welcome to the neighborhood. You owe us." Turns out, Karen, you owed me.